Hey everybody, happy Wednesday and welcome to Chill Tidbits, a Volquest.com mini recruiting podcast. I'm Eric Kane alongside the recruiting guru Matt Ray, and we'll go over a couple of different guys here for, spanning some 26, couple 27s here over the next couple of minutes. Looking at some guys who were on campus this past weekend. One of two high-profile five-star prospects for Tennessee in this class. Nothing new here, but Tristan Keys. What's the latest for Tristan Keys, the wide receiver?
Yep, Tristan Keys continues to get back to campus in Knoxville. He's been a routine visitor just about every time that he could be here. He's been here, and he was back in town this weekend for the New Mexico State game and left again all smiles. He continues to build a really, really strong bond with Kelsey Pope. Those two have hit it off, and talking to him, he's not got to play a lot of football this fall at Hattiesburg. He worked his way back from injury. An off-season injury that set him back, and he's continued to progress, and he's getting really excited now about the opportunity to get to Knoxville and get started. He's planning to be in town for bowl practices, and he's a guy that's really planning to take that opportunity very serious. He said the one thing that he's heard routinely from Kelsey Pope is about all the opportunity that Tennessee has at the wide receiver position. And if you come in and work, there's a lot of opportunity there for you to earn that. And he takes that very seriously. So he again left all smiles. And then, of course, I think the Tennessee offense has continued to excite him from a production standpoint at that receiver spot. He's a guy that continues to see them throw the football down the field and do a lot of things that mesh really well with his skill set. So, Tennessee continuing to recruit him just as hard as they were when he was not committed, as hard as they were when he was committed to LSU. And he's fully aware of that. He talked about that. And, he's really active in talking amongst the 2026 class. And when asking him if he had talked to anybody in 2027, he made it pretty clear that there's one guy that he wants to join what he believes is already a really special offensive class in 2026. He wants to add to that with a special running back in 2027. And he says he's reaching out to David Gabriel Georges and letting him know that he wants him at Tennessee.
Let's continue on here in this class of 2026, and a guy that was here on an official visit, former Texas A&M commits, decommitted about a month ago, has been on campus twice since then, and that is Jordan Carter, who you guys had a chance to catch up with on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, that's another guy that Tennessee's continued to make strides with in the recent weeks. Getting him in town for the Oklahoma game really set the stage for them to get this official visit in the process. I think they were able to answer a lot of his questions this weekend and show him and his family a lot of attention and make them feel like a priority. I think from a defensive fit, he's seeing a lot of different things laid out in front of him, the ways that Tennessee can use him, the way that they rotate. I think all of those things are really appealing to Jordan Carter. And he's got a good relationship with Rodney Garner, Coach Chop. We've talked about them before on this program. That's a big reason that he's continued to listen to Tennessee and why Tennessee was at school that he visited kind of right away after he decommitted. Now, one thing that I was interested in for Jordan Carter with this official visit is kind of where does this timeline shake out? We know Georgia Tech's in this. We know that Auburn's in this, but Auburn's sitting there without a head coach. So how realistic are they in this? So kind of from everything that I've gathered, he's still planning to go back to Georgia Tech this weekend as of now at the time of this recording, and they're going to shoot their shot. They're making some big plays for in-state prospects that they really want on their roster. So we'll see where they're at coming out of this weekend. And then as of now, the plan is to still go back to Auburn on an official visit at the end of the month, despite the fact that they don't have a head coach. He has continued to hear a lot from DJ Durkin, the defensive coordinator there. They've kind of done the same thing that Tennessee and Georgia Tech has. They've recruited him for the duration, despite his commitment to Texas Tech being over a year, or Texas A&M being over a year long. So, he's a guy that I think is going to give Auburn a fair shake at this thing, and you'll look for him to probably make a decision during the early signing period. So Tennessee's going to have to continue to keep their foot pressed down and continue to work on Jordan Carter. But I think they made big strides this weekend, and they're very much in play here right now.
You look at the class of 2027 and one of the best interior offensive linemen in that class, and Tennessee's trying to build that relationship out here in the early going, and that's Maxwell Hiller, who was also on campus for the New Mexico State game.
Yeah, 5-star in 2027, number one interior offensive lineman in the industry ratings for Rivals, and a guy that visited Tennessee in the summer and from up in Pennsylvania, and has really kind of taken a national. Obviously, I mean, he's a national recruit, but it has really taken a national approach to his recruitment. He's looked at a lot of different schools. He's not just said, I'm a Pennsylvania kid, I'm going to focus Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, that kind of the regional schools that you see in a lot of those recruitments from up north. He's taken an approach to I'm going to look at all these different schools, and I'm going to try to find the school that is best for me. And he's done a nice job of sifting through these schools and spending time on visits, getting answers and looking at different things. And he's really meshed with Glenn Ellerby at Tennessee. We wrote in the War Room last Friday that Tennessee was chasing Alabama along with the other programs that are recruiting Maxwell Hiller. And, he still noted that Alabama's probably number one for him right now. But Tennessee, he said, was surging drastically. That's an exact quote. They're marching up the board drastically for him, and he's planning to get back to Knoxville before making a final decision, which could come sometime between the end of January and the end of spring. I don't think he wants to be too drawn out in this process, but a guy that I think Tennessee's done a really nice job of prioritizing. I think he's learned a lot about how he can be used. And one thing that really stood out to him on Saturday night was the fact that, Tennessee has a 5-star freshman out there on the field playing football for them. They have David Sanders out there, and he's not just out there getting reps. He's out there and he's got development. He's made strides since the start of the year. Obviously, he was banged up, but he's made strides since he got here, since he started getting into games. Heck, I think this week, if I saw correctly, he was PFF's highest graded true freshman offensive lineman for the week. So, there's development happening for David Sanders. So when you're selling development to a younger guy like Maxwell Hiller, you've got somebody that you can point to. And I think he's seeing that. He's learned a lot about Tennessee as a program, and there are things that line up there that I think allow Tennessee to truly be what he says, a strong contender in this recruitment moving forward. And again, Alabama's done a nice job recruiting. There are other schools involved, but he's going to continue to take visits, and he fully intends to be back to Tennessee. And, we'll kind of see where things go from there. But the Vols have continued to put their best foot forward in this recruitment in an interior offensive lineman, in the recruitment of this interior offensive lineman that is wanted by every school in the country.
Let's go back to the 26 class as we for the last guy we're going to talk about here on Trail Tidbits this week. And we'll go down to the junior college ranks to Northwest Mississippi Community College, and a defensive tackle that hails from White Station in Memphis, Tennessee, and that is Jalen Thomas. We talked about him about 3 weeks ago here on this program.
Yep. Still set to be here at the end of the month on an official visit for the Vanderbilt game. A guy that's continuing to pick up traction on the recruiting trail. You continue to see new schools come in and offer him in the recent weeks and recent days. And he's a guy that at 6'3", around 305, 310 pounds, man, he plays with a lot of twitch. He does a lot of things, can play a lot of different techniques. And Rodney Garner, when he hones in on a guy like this that he likes, it's usually for good reason. And I like to typically point back to a guy like Omar Norman Lott, right, who Tennessee, who Coach G recruited multiple times before getting him to Tennessee. And when he got him to Tennessee, he developed into a second-round draft pick for the Chiefs. So when you look at a guy like Jalen Thomas, and you may wonder kind of what's Tennessee thinking here in terms of ratings. I don't think they're worried about ratings at all. I think what Jalen Thomas has put on film and what Rodney Garner has seen from him is probably speaks volumes in itself. And Tennessee really likes Jalen Thomas, a guy that they would like to add to this class, and a guy that they've continued to do a really, really nice job for in over the last couple of months. They got him into town earlier in the fall, and they'll look to build on that and close this out as we push toward the early signing period. But as he's continued to progress through junior college, new schools are continuing to reach out, and kind of the further, the more this shakes out, you never know what can happen. We've got coaching staff changes across the country. We got our first big hire earlier this week with James Franklin going to Virginia Tech. So as some of those dominoes start to take effect, can a team get in and try to make a late run here with a couple of weeks till signing day? We'll see. I don't know. I think today Tennessee's put themselves in the best position and have a chance to close this out at the end of the month. But he's a guy that Tennessee likes a lot and is looking forward to getting back to campus over Thanksgiving weekend when Vanderbilt's in town.
Yeah, 3 weeks. 3 weeks to signing.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to believe. It's sneaks up on you a little bit, but of course Tennessee trying to finish off this 26 class on a high note over the next 3 weeks before national signing period begins. All right, stay dialed into Volquest.com as the week goes along. Matt Ray, Austin Prizes had a lot of recruiting nuggets, plus in the war room, Tennessee and Florida. I know there's a lot of Lane Kiffin noise down there in Gainesville right now, but there is still a football game that's going to be played down there, and we'll see if Tennessee can win down there in the Swamp for the first time since 2003. Then, of course, coming back here in Knoxville to play spoilers to Vanderbilt to conclude the regular season. Plenty of recruiting coverage all week long, all week next week as well. Stay dialed in with everything going on with Tennessee football and more at Volquest.com. This has been Trail Tidbits with Matt Ray. I'm Eric Kane. Thanks so much for joining us here, and we'll see you on the GQ.